Hello, and thank you for taking the time to see some of the new technologies that are being built, provided by ITSC in partnership with USDOL, Mississippi, New York, and Oregon. This new technology was originally envisioned back in 2009 by leadership of all levels from the workforce agencies throughout the country. The leadership realized a shift in the system that needed to be addressed in order to better serve today's job seekers. As part of this effort, there were 4 transformational elements that were defined: a common front door, or an integrated workforce registration system, real-time triage, job match and skills transferability, and last, social media. In this webinar, we're going to focus on the common front door. ITSC took the original vision as defined by the leadership teams and partnered with USDOL in 3 pilot states to develop system requirements for the common front door, which has become the IWR, or the Integrated Workforce Registration System. USDOL provided high-level guidance that acted as the foundation for all other system requirements. Some of those requirements are the use of open-source tools and software, high configurability to handle all states' needs, and a system that can be transferred at no to low cost to other state workforce agencies. These guidelines allowed for ITSC with the pilot states to procure a vendor, GCOM, to develop and implement the IWR system. Prior to demoing the system, let me take a minute to describe what the IWR system is and how it can be used. The IWR is a web-based single point of entry into the state workforce system. This system provides each state with customization, flexibility, and configurability in the way they handle job seekers and common data collection within those areas. The IWR will allow for a collection of common data elements between the state workforce partners, unemployment insurance, employment services, and WIA, as well as provide more synergistic process to a job seeker. This will eliminate redundant and duplicate data entry by the job seeker while accessing similar services within the agency. This process does not handle full program eligibility, which the agency's existing systems already provide, but just a way to capture and share common data across the programs. So let's start the demo. We will demo the IWR system in a test environment that is established to demonstrate the functionality with mocked-up users, without being attached to specific state systems. The overall system provides 2 options for hosting and implementation. The first would be a state-hosted version of the IWR system. Above and beyond the functionality previously mentioned, the state-hosted version of the system provides the capabilities of a single sign-on that can be used agency-wide. The second option is a cloud-based implementation and hosting. This option will allow for the state agency to share the cost of maintenance and operations while still providing a high quality of service to the job seeker. The IWR system is initiated by the state website once a job seeker attempts to access one of the workforce agency services. This will trigger the first process within the IWR system, which requires the user to log in. If the user already has credentials from the agency, those credentials can be used to log in and start the registration process. If the system will allow for the user to establish their base credentials, collecting a few data elements such as first name, last name, date of birth, and email can occur, as well as establishing your actual user credentials such as user ID and password. If the state has previously implemented a single sign-on system at the state or agency level, the IWR system provides federation modules to eliminate duplication login processes. The next step in the process is the registration questionnaire. As mentioned prior, this is a highly configurable environment which will provide each state with the ability to modify both the wording for each question as well as data elements that are collected. Each field within the questionnaire can be captured using multiple common web entry techniques. Radio boxes will capture basic yes-no type of questions. Combo boxes provides flexibility in selecting an item in a list of different predefined answers. And text boxes can be used to capture free-form text from the user. As part of the text entry, there will be some predefined formatting of text, as well as screen validations for the answers. As you can see here, in entering either the SSN or date of birth, those information is predefined and masked within the text boxes themselves. The next step in the process is handling the page flows and the configurability there. The pages and flows are configurable enough to handle many questions and sections within a single page or multiple pages that the state agency is comfortable with. The questions that you are seeing within the section have been configured based on one of the pilot states that we are working with. Each area within the questionnaire will provide the job seeker with help functionality as well as tooltips or hover text based on where your mouse is located on the screen. This information is also configurable in the administrative section of the application. The IWR system was developed to have multi-language functionality and support. Google Translate has been integrated into the application to handle question conversion to other languages, but still requires review prior to the translated language being used. The one other feature of the questionnaire that I would like to mention is the support for question dependency. Question dependency provides the application with the ability to prompt for additional questions based on how a previous question was answered. These types of questions could either be on the same page or preceding pages based on the agency preference. So as you can see, once a question is changed on a similar page, the job seeker is prompted with additional questions. Once you have completed the questionnaire, the job seeker is then sent to a landing page. This landing page, similar to the IWR, is highly configurable and modular and allows for customization on a state-by-state basis. Using the administrative features, modules can be turned on or off, as well as modifications to the common look and feel of the application. The first section of the WIP that I would like to discuss, and the WIP stands for the Workforce Integrated Profile page, which actually acts as the hub for all 4 transformational elements. This page will allow for a job seeker to have a centralized view of their workforce agency area. This is customized specific for each individual job seeker, so they have their own customization that they can also manage within the application. The first section that we're going to dive into is the job posting section. This module provides job seeker with leads based on previously entered information through either the IWR or other workforce systems. As you can see, there is a specific customization that can take place to further filter or refine the job leads that are provided to the job seeker. These changes can take place by both the job seeker themselves or the workforce agency as preferred internally. The next section I would like to discuss is the message capabilities. The messaging is broken down into 2 specific areas. The one area is providing generic messages that can be blasted to all users or filtered to certain groups based on location or predefined information such as veteran status. These pieces are not specific to a job seeker, but is going to a group of people and will be provided in this area. The next section also provides more secure and singular information for a job seeker. This is not something that will go to multiple people, but to an individual job seeker. This section provides secure communication area between the job seeker and the workforce agency. Providing reading, composing, or replying to messages are all pieces of functionality that is provided out of the box of the system. The routing of the messages is handled by the state agency, which allows for agency to control the workflow and triage of each message sent. The UI claims section can be used and configured to handle different types of information. If the job seeker does not have a UI claim, links can be provided to file a UI claim or even documentation to assist in the process. if the job seeker has a UI claim, simple claim information can be provided here, such as claim balance, last payment date, and amount, as well as links to the full inquiry functionality or even certification process. The concept is a quick view with capabilities to dive in deeper to an area of interest by the job seeker. The LMI module will be used to educate the job seeker with information that is relevant and specific to the individual. So instead of providing generic statewide information, a more refined and filtered location-based information can be provided to the job seeker to assist them in their job search. Information such as skills in demand in certain regions of the state, or how many job openings would be available if expanding a job search, and certain education standards were actually met. The next section is the federal tools, and the previously developed federal tool sets are also integrated with the web. These tools, such as My Skills, My Future, and My Next Move, continue to provide and educate the job seeker. The integration with these systems provides seamless transfer of information between the two systems, making it easier for the job seeker to navigate and actually gain information. Each of these tools will be provided either through a link or passing data between the two to integrate it a little tighter. The social media section will allow for the states to provide direct access into their specific social media channels. This will allow the job seeker to click on one of the links or even go in and sign up for different information provided by the different social media channels. This will not do direct feeds from social media, but necessarily providing information on how to access the social media channels and also gain information through those channels. The last section to touch on here is the user profile management area. This section provides the individual job seeker with some flexibility with the information that is displayed and managed. The profile summary section provides a read and also modify view of data that was previously entered by the job seeker. This section would allow for the job seeker to modify some of the common data that is displayed here and shared amongst the different workforce areas. One of the other pieces of this section is a calendar option, which provides a centralized area for the workforce agency to show what appointments the job seeker may have or training that they have registered for. This ultimately provides a centralized location for the job seeker to manage and view what information or what dates are relevant to them within the agency and information they may need for those appointments. The last piece will ultimately be a chat feature. Certain states are moving towards this functionality, which can integrate directly with this section, allowing for job seekers to communicate with a UI, ES, or WIA rep that can assist them with the process. This chat functionality will allow for the job seeker to route to the appropriate agent as required based on the information that they're looking to capture. The last section that I would like to touch on is the administrative section of the application. The last section that I would like to discuss is the administrative section of the application. Similar to the job seeker, an admin will go to the IWR login page. And based on the user role, the application will send the administrator to a specific section to view or modify different pieces of the application. As you can see here, a menu is provided with the different options that are available to an administrator. Although we are not going to touch on all the sections, the one section I would like to focus on is the question administration. This section allows you to dive into the different areas of the interaction with the job seeker. As you can see, this is broken up into two main sections. The first section, the registration section, is basically used to gather and collect information from the job seeker that's establishing their credentials for the first time. Each of these areas provides different prompts and icons to drive and dive in deeper into the questions and handle the editing and modifying of each of these questions. So as you can see here, this is a specific section within the questionnaire that allows you to modify and edit specific data areas or data elements within the application. So on this specific area, date of birth is selected. And although date of birth is a text box that is listed here, there's multiple different types of selections that can be selected for that question, as well as not only the selections of types of how you're going to collect that information, but there is max length and minimum and maximum length, the relationships, if there's any, as mentioned with the question dependencies a little earlier in this presentation, and then some also key validations that are provided out of the box. Regular pattern expressions can be used to also do additional validations or even entering other validation type text and messages. The question order actually allows you to outline in what process or where within the steps you would actually, or within the section you would like to see the question aligned. As mentioned, tooltips are also provided for the job seeker. The tooltips allows for a quick excerpt of what the data that you're looking to receive should be either formatted or what type of data you're looking to receive. And then the help information provides a more detailed or granular information as far as why the data is relevant to capture and what the data is being used for. Each of these areas are actually gathered within specific sections of the application and displayed back to the job seeker. As mentioned before, there are specific areas within the questionnaire that you can manage and modify on how the flow of the questions and the sections are displayed. So as you can see, we're going to jump back here and actually look specifically at some of the questions that were specific to the pilot state that we're referring to. So in this question administration, you can actually dive in, order, modify, and select some of the questions the way they exist in the application and the section. If you hit the up and down arrow, that will modify the location on the page on where that section or question is actually asked. Or if you click on the pencil itself and over the sheet of paper, that would allow you to modify the actual question and the way it's presented out to the job seeker. The next section is also allows you to view the actual page the way it would be displayed out to the job seeker. So if there's any questions while configuring, you can always bounce back and actually see what the job seeker will see instead of having to go through the entire process over again. Each of these sections, as mentioned, are very configurable and able to hook into the individual state systems using a service-based architecture. So although these specific scenarios aren't hooked into a state system, states will be able to develop their own web services to obtain and retrieve the information from the IWR and provide the WIP with the appropriate information moving forward. So, as mentioned before, all of these technologies are also built using open source technologies and available to each of the state workforce agencies to provide to their own job seekers. As part of the Reemployment Connection, we will continue to build and enhance the IWR and the WIP application and allow for more customization moving forward. So this concludes the presentation or the demo of the system, but the one thing I would like each of the state agencies to take away is that this is an evolving system and continues to grow as we work with the pilot states and USDOL. So with that, that concludes our presentation. I appreciate you taking the time to look at the IWR and the WIP application, and I hope we have the opportunity to work with you in the future. Thank you.